Hi guys, it's Miss Berg again. We're going to start for 7 right now. Just to tell you a little bit about it, you probably, if you're not, still don't know your multiplication facts, which you should know by now, but if you're still struggling on them, you should also have a multiplication chart handy to help you with your multiplication. So I'm going to turn it around and we are going to start. All right, so here we go. It says you can use what you have learned about patterns and place value to place the decimal place in the product when you multiply two decimals. So if you had 1/10 times 1, it's going to be 1/10. Now, if it's a tenth times a tenth, remember there are how many numbers after the decimal? There is 1 and 2. So that means you need to move it in two places. Here, there is 2 here after the decimal and another one. So that is 2 plus 1, which equals a total of 3 places. So that is why they are showing 3 places moving. All right, so here we go. A male leopard seal is measured and has a length of 2 8/10 meters. A male elephant seal is about 1 5/10 times as long. What length is the male elephant seal? So, also, it's going to tell you that you could kind of check this if you wanted to by doing estimation. So, I mean, you could, if you wanted to, just look at the whole number, which is the 1. What determines that is that 5. The 5 is going to tell that 1 to go up 1 more because it is 5 or more. Remember that 0 through 4 stays on the floor. 5 through 9 goes up 1 more. And then here, if you are just looking at the whole number, it is the 2. What determines it is that 8, and the 8 is found in 5 through 9, which tells that 2 to go up 1 more to a 3. So if you multiply it, your number should be around 6. So let's go ahead and see. The thing is, they just multiply like normal for you. The only thing that they forgot is to move it in how many places. So if you look here, how many decimal places does it need to be moved in? Well, this one is 1 plus another one. 1 plus 1 is 2 places. So if I write this number, oh, I shouldn't have put in that decimal yet. If I wrote 420 and then moved it into places, my number is 4 20/100ths, or you could have said 4 2/10ths, however you want to look at it, which is close to 6. So that is good estimation. So that is what you are going to be doing. Here. So what if you multiply 2 8/10ths by 1 74/100ths? What would be the place value of the product? So in this case, if you actually went and did this, I'm not going to tell you the place value, but what I do want you to say is that if you wrote this up, this one has the most digits, so it should be on top. This one has only 2 digits, so I put it on the bottom. But now you need to know that there are now 2 numbers after this one, plus another one. So 2 plus 1 is actually 3 places. So this one, you would need to move it in 2 decimal places. So this is the only difference. Now you're going to be counting, and it's probably going to be more than 1 or 2. It may be 3, it maybe even be 4. So do keep that in mind. In this case, you would have to move it 3 decimal places in after the fact. All right, so now we're going to do this one. Again, it is going to tell you that if you want to use the estimation to kind of help you guide you what you should be getting, you may do that. So if you did do the estimation part, again, it is not required, but if you wanted to, just look at the whole number, which is a 7. The one that determines it is the back number. The 8 is going to tell that to go up to an 8. So here, the 3 is the whole number. What determines it is the 1. The 1 is going to tell that just to stay the same. So your answer should come out to be around 24. So now we are going to go ahead and multiply like normal. The only thing is you got to count how many numbers are after the decimals total. There's 1, 2, and 3. So this is one where we are going to be moving it in 3 after the fact. So now we're just going to multiply like normal. 8 times 2 is 16. Carry your 1. 8 times 1 is 8, plus that 1 is 9. 8 times 3 is 24. So then this one is done. So you're going to bring down the 0. Cross out any remainders. Then 7 times 2 is 14. Carry your 1. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8. And then 7 times 3 is 21. Then you add, that would be a 6, 13, carry your 1. That would be 5 plus 8, which is 13, carry your 1. This would be 4 and 2. And then we got to remember to bring it in 3 places. So your number should have been 24 and 336 thousandths. Okay, so now it's saying place the decimal point in the product. So they're giving you what the answer, the product should be once you multiply everything. But then they want you to put the decimal in the right place. So how many numbers are after the decimal? There is a total of 3. So therefore we need to move this in 3 places. So it was 5 and 68 thousandths. Here, they said, oh, you could use that estimation to help you, the 8 would tell that 6 to go up to a 7, and that 2 would tell that 1 to stay the same. So therefore this, oh, sorry, my fault. This should come out to be around 7. 7 times 1 is 7. So when you go and you multiply, they want you to put the decimal in the right place. So how many numbers are after the decimal? There are 2, so you would move this one in only 2 places. So it'd be 8 and 1600ths. All right, now this one just says find the product. So we are just going to be simply multiplying. How many numbers are after the decimal here? There is 1 and 2, so this one is 2 that we're going to be moving in. And now we just multiply like normal. 8 times 9 is 72. So 2 down, carry your 7. 8 times 0 is 0, plus 7 is 7. Then you are not done. You would move this one down to be a 0. And then you just have 0 times 9, which is 0, 0 times 0, which is 0. So you have a row of zeros. And then if you add, this would be your answer, and you move it in twice. So your answer should have been 72 hundredths. Here, same thing. We are going to be seeing how many numbers are after the decimal. There is a total of 2. So remember to move it in twice. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry your 2. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. Carry your 2. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 2 is 42. But you are not done yet. You need to move this decimal down. This down to a 0. Cross out any remainders. 5 times 5 is 25. Oh, look, guys, it is actually going to be the same numbers that we had right here. It's just going to have a 0 behind it. So if you want to just say 5, I know that's going to be a 2, that's going to be a 2, and then a 4. Could have done that because it's still going to carry the exact same thing. So if you add this would be 5, 7, 4, 6, 4, and then how many decimal places would be 2. So therefore your answer would be 464 and 75/100ths. Here, same thing. You are going to be multiplying. First, you got to see how many numbers are after the decimal. There is actually a total of 3. So do be careful. You need to count all the numbers after both decimals total. So that would be a total of 3. 1, 2, and 3. So now we're going to multiply like normal. This would be 63, carry your 6. This 7 times 3 is 21, plus 6 is 27. Carry your 2. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 2 is 16. Then you are not done yet. This needs to become a 0. Cross out any remainders, and now the 2 comes into play. 2 goes to 9, which is 18. Carry your 1 to the next number. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, and then 2 times 2 is 4. Then you add 3, this is 15, carry your 1. 7 plus 7 is 14, carry your 1, and then a 6. And how many numbers do you bring it in? You bring it in 3 places. So your answer is 6 and 453 thousandths. Okay, now you go ahead and do more of these. So same stuff. Here we go. Same thing. How many numbers are after the decimals? There is a total of 2 numbers. So here we go. 4 times 9 is 36. Carry your 3. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 3 is 31. Then you are not done. You need to bring down that 0 just like you normally would. Then 3 times 9 is 27. So a 7, carry your 2. Then 3 times 7 is 21. Plus 2 is 23. And this would be a 6, 8, 6, 2. And then you bring it in 2 places. So it would be 26 and 86/100ths. All right, next one, how many numbers would be after the decimal? It would be a total of 2. And then just multiply like normal. This would be 12, carry your 1. That would be 54 plus 1 is 55. Then bring down your 0. Cross out any remainder. 5 times 2 is 10. Carry your 1. 5 times 9 is 45. Plus 1 is 46. Then you add. That'd be a 2, a 5. This 5 plus 6 is 11. Carry your 1. And then this would be 5 and bring it in 2 places. Be 51 and 52/100ths. Here's the next one. How many numbers are after the decimal here? There is a total of 3. So 7 times 5 is 35. Carry your 3. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 3 is 31. So we'll put a 1 down, carry my 3. 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 3 is 24. Then bring down your 0. Cross out any remainders. And then 9 times 5 is 45. Carry your 4. 9 times 4 is 36. Plus 4 is 40. So carry your 4. And then this would be 27. Plus 4 is 31. And then you just add. So that would be 5, 6, 4, 3, and 3. And then you move it in 3 places from the back. So your answer would be 33 and 465 thousandths. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to try doing 9, 10, and 11 on your own and see how well you do. So please pause this and do 9, 10, and 11 on your own. So you should have done 9, 10, and 11 on your own. And just to make this go a little faster, I will show you what you should have gotten. So you should have moved it in twice. If you did it correctly, your answer would have been 36 and 24 hundredths. Here, you should have moved it in 3 places. So if you did the multiplication correctly and you added them correctly and moved it in the decimal, your answer should have been 17 and 450 thousandths. And then same here. If you should have moved it in 3 places after the fact. But if you multiplied and added correctly and moved it in 3 places, your answer would have been 23 and 868 thousandths. So that is what you should have had. Okay, now here is the next thing. We're going to do some story problems. So it says Charlie has an adult Netherlands dwarf rabbit that weighs 1 2/10 kilograms. Cliff's adult Angora rabbit weighs 2 9/10 times as much as Charlie's rabbit. How much does Cliff's rabbit weigh? All right, so in this case, it says Charlie's is 1 2/10 kilograms. But then it says, oh, sorry, Charlie and Cliff both have C's. So I'm going to say CL for Cliff. Cliff is 2 9/10 times as much as Charlie's. Well, Charlie's was 1 2/10. So in order to do this, I need to figure out what Cliff's is by multiplying these. So I'm going to do that over here. How many numbers are after the decimal? There are 2. So then this one would be 18, carry your 1. That would be 4 plus 1 is 5. Then bring down your 0, cross out your remainder. Then your 1 comes into play, which is a 9, and then a 2. And so when you add, that would be an 8. This would be 14, carry your 1, and then a 3. And then how many places do you move it in? You move it in twice. So therefore, your answer would be 3 and 48 hundredths kilograms. Is what Cliff's rabbit weighs. All right, next it says Gina bought 2 5/10 pounds of peaches that cost $1.38 per pound at a grocery store. Amy went to the local farmer's market and purchased 3.5 pounds of peaches at 98 cents per pound. Who spent more money and how much more? All right, so in order to figure this out, this is how much Gina spent per pound, but she didn't just buy 1 pound, she bought 2.5, 2 5/10 pounds. So therefore, in order to figure out what Gina spent, you would have to times these two. And then we talk about Amy, who went to the farmer's market. She did 98 cents per pound, but she didn't just buy 1 pound, she bought 3.5 or 3 5/10 pounds. So in order to find out how much she spent, you would multiply those two. So that is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to say G for Gina. The one that has the most digits is the $1.38 times 2 5/10. Remember, you don't need to line up the decimals with multiplication. That is only addition and subtraction of decimals. So how many numbers are after these decimals? There's 1, 2, and 3. So this would be a total of 3 places. So then we multiply. That would be 40. And then you bring over the 4. Then 5 times 3 is 15, plus your 4 is 19, carry your 1. Then 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. Then you bring down your decimal. Sorry, not your decimal. You bring down your 0, cross out any remainders. Then 2 times 8 now is 16, carry your 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, and 2 times 1 is 2. Then you add, that'd be 0. 9 plus 6 is 15, carry your 1. This is 7 plus 7 is 14, carry your 1, and 3. And then you move it in 3 places from the back. So therefore, if we're talking about money, you don't worry about that back 0. So it is, she spent $3.45. All right, so then we're going to talk about Amy. Amy was 98 cents per pound, but she got 3 5/10 pounds. How many numbers are after the decimals? There is a total of 3. All right, so now we're going to multiply. That would be 40, carry your 4. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 4 is 49, carry your 4. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 4 is 4. Then bring down your 0. Cross out any remainders. 3 times 8 is 24, carry your 2. 3 times 9 is 27, plus 2 is 29, carry your 2. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2, and then you add, that would be a 0. 13, carry your 1. That would be 10 plus 4, which is 14, carry your 1, and a 3. And then how many decimal places do you move it in? You move it in 3, 1, 2, and 3. So then this one, Amy spent $3.43. So who spent more is the question, and how much more? So therefore, if you did this, who spent more? Gina spent more, but by only 2 cents. So you would say, Gina, she spent $0.02 more. All right, so that is how you do that. All right, this. It says John has pet rabbits in the enclosure that has an area of 30 and 7,500 square feet. The enclosure Taylor is planning to build for his rabbits will be 2 2/10 times as John's. How much more feet will Taylor's enclosure have than John's enclosure? So here we go. John's was 30 and 7,200 square feet. And Taylor's is 2 2/10 times as much as John, which is 30 and 7,200. So in order to do this, I would have to multiply these. So I'm going to do that over here. How many numbers are after the decimals? There is a total of 3. So this one would be 4. This is 14, carry your 1. This would be 0 plus 1 is 1. And then this would be 6. Then we have to make sure you bring down your 0. Cross out any remainders, but we're multiplying by 2 again, which is the exact same numbers, just with a 0 at the end. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to put a 4, then another 4, then a 1, then a 6. Then I'm going to add, this would be 4, 8, 5, 7, 6. And then how many decimal places? I would be moving it in 3. So it would be 67 and 584,000 square feet. But the question said, how many more square feet will Taylor's enclosure have than John's? So in order to figure out how much more square feet this is than this, is you have to subtract the 2. So when you are subtracting decimals, it is super, super important that you line up the decimals. And we have a placeholder, bring down your decimal. So 4 minus 0 is 4. 8 minus 2 is 6. 5, take away 7, you can't do that. So 15 minus 7 is 8. 6 minus 0 is 6. And 6 minus 3 is 3. So your answer will be 36 and 864 thousandths more square feet. Okay, next, it says a zoo is planning a new building for the penguin exhibit. First, they will have a model that is 1 3/10 meters tall. Then they will have a more detailed model that is 1 5/10 times as tall as that first model. The building will be 2 5/10 times as tall as the height of the detailed model. What will be the height of that building? Well, in order to do this, you would have to first say it's telling you the first model is 1 3/10 meters, but then it's saying the more detailed one is actually going to be 1 5/10 times as much as this. So therefore, we would have to multiply this to find that more detailed one. And then it's saying, but the real actual building will actually be 2 5/10 of this detailed one, which is to find this would give you the detailed one. Then you times it by 2 5/10. So in order to do this, you would have to multiply all of these. So I am just going to multiply this. 1 5/10 is bigger, so I'll put that on top, but it really doesn't matter because of the commutative property. This would be 2 places. That would be 15, carry your 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. Bring down your 0. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. That would be a 5, 9, and 1. Bring it in 2 places. So your answer to this part is 1 95 hundredths. Now you would have to times it by 2 5/10. So now I'm going to do it all over again. So how many numbers are after the decimals? Now there are 3. So that would be 25, carry your 2. This is 45 plus 2 is 47, carry your 4. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. Then bring down your 0, cross out any remainders. This is 10, carry your 1. Then this is 18, plus 1 is 19, carry your 1. This is 2, plus 1 is 3. And then you add, and then you move it in 3 places. So therefore, your answer is for and 875 thousandths meters. Okay, so this one says Leslie and Paul both solve the multiplication problem of this. Leslie says the answer should be this, and Paul says that it should be this. Whose answer is correct? And explain your reasoning. All right, so Leslie says that the answer was this, and Paul says the answer was this. Who is correct? Well, first, when you're comparing these, you should always line up the decimal. So these are the same, these are the same, these are the same. And then this just hasn't, needs a placeholder. So this one would have been the same. So you would have said both because they are the same. 30 hundredths is the same as saying 3/10. All right, I am not going to do this because they actually want you to find the product of these and multiply each one out and move the decimal to see if this is true or not. I think we've done plenty, so I'm going to skip that one. But I am going to go right over to your homework. Your homework on this page is going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 11. I am going to do number 12 with you, but before I do know that I want you to show your work. All right, so we're going to do this one. Tiffany catches a fish that weighs 12 3/10 pounds. Frank catches a fish that weighs 2.5 or 2 5/10 times as much as Tiffany's. How many pounds does Frank's fish weigh? So you would have to times these. So because this one has the most digits, I'm putting that one on top. All right, so how many numbers are after the decimals total? There is 1 and 2, so therefore there are 2. Now I just multiply like I normally would. So that would be 15, carry your 1, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11, carry your 1, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. And bring down your 0, cross out any remainders. Then 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 1 is 2. So when you add this, that would be 5. This would be 7. That would be 10. Carry your 1 and a 3. And then you bring it in 2 places, 1, 2. So your answer would be 30 75 hundredths pounds. Do make sure that you darken your decimal so I can see that that was a decimal there. Some of you are doing it very, very lightly, and it's very hard to tell whether that's supposed to be a decimal or not. You are going to cross out 13, and you do not need to do all of these. Is just if you want extra practice, you may certainly do it, but you don't have to, and it's definitely not going to be anything I'm going to be grading. On the next page. On the next page, I want you to do 1, 3, 4, and 5. And I am going to go over 2 and 6 with you. Now, in order to do this one, it says what digit should go in that box to make this statement true. So if you lined up the decimal here, you could see it. Now remember, this one would have to be bigger. So this is the one that doesn't have anything. You could have put a 0 here as a placeholder. So remember, this one should be bigger. So in order to make this bigger, if I put a 7 here, would that make it bigger? No, it would not, because this would just be 720 and this one is saying 749. So that would not work. So I should have put either an 8 or a 9 to make this statement true. So an 8 or a 9 needed to be there. All right, we are going to do number 2. Last week, Juan worked 20 5/10 hours. This week, he worked 1.5 times or 1 5/10 times as many hours as he did last week. How many hours does Juan work this week? So in order to do this, you would times those two. Remember, you do not need to line up the decimals in this, but in this case, it worked out that way. How many numbers are after the decimals total? There is 2. So 5 times 5 is 25. Carry your 2. Then 5 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Then you bring down your 0, cross out any remainders. Then 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 0 is 0, and 1 times 2 is 2. And when you add this, this would be 5, 7, 0, 3. And how many places do I move it in? Move it in twice. So therefore it'd be 30 and 75 hundredths hours. Okay, so this is lesson 4-7. And next one will be 4-8. So I will see you guys later. Bye.